For the classwork, you'll have problems here on the IXL, this online platform, IXL. Again, look at the how-to videos if you don't know how to get into the IXL. There is, go to the how-to videos and you'll see right here how to use IXL, how to log into IXL. Okay, so once you get in here to do this classwork and start practicing this material on domain and range, you have to be careful on reading what the question is. This one says that sometimes it'll ask what's the domain, sometimes it'll ask what's the range. And again, what's the good thing about this platform IXL, I know we use Delta Math a lot, is it has learn with an example little feature here, so it's kind of like gives an explanation of how to look at this, and you read it, and it might get a little confusing. I don't know, maybe this helps. Back to practice. Okay, so this is the domain. The domain is again the X, so just looking at it this way. The graph, if you look at the arrow, it's continuous. Even though it's pointing all the way that way, but it's still coming all the way from negative infinity. It's constant coming negative infinity. It gets to here and it rises up. And if you see the arrow, even though you don't see the graph after and it doesn't look like it's here, it still has values way up there because it continues, right? When do you know, like here what I'm telling you is it's going to keep going up, up, up. There will be a value of 4 way up there, of 6 way up there. You won't see it. It's continuous. It'll go. How do you know when it doesn't? When you see these dash lines, when you see this dash line like this, that means that it doesn't go anywhere beyond this 2. It never touches this, well, in this case, -2. So it just gets close and close and close and close and close to that -2, but it doesn't get there. But we're not looking at the range, so that doesn't matter right now. Right now for the domain, this one, the answer is going to be the one that has, well, from the negative, from this left side, it's coming from negative infinity, it applies to all these numbers. And actually, again, even though you don't see it, it's continuous all the way to positive infinity, because there'll be values way up here 4, there'll be a value up here 6, there'll be a value way up there, you just don't see it. And the arrowhead is what tells you. So actually this one for the domain, it exists on all real numbers, everything from negative infinity all the way to positive infinity. So this one says all real numbers. Okay, and here they're showing you interval notation, right? Interval notation, but this one's all real numbers. I will hit submit and see I got it. Here's asking for the range, so careful, this is for the range. So range is not looking left and right, that's looking up and down. Well, again, look at it, has the arrowhead here. That means from the negative it's coming from, negative infinity. It's kind of continuous, and all the way up it just keeps going all the way up. It has the arrowhead here on the graph, right? This kind of yellow orange function. So this one again on the range, it will be from negative infinity to positive infinity, or on the y, the range is all numbers, right? So it's all numbers. I'm trying to get one that has not that same answer. Let's see the next one. The range, here we go. The range, again, range is what? All sets of the y values, y. So now here, coming from the bottom, if you see the arrow from the bottom, it's coming from negative infinity. Negative infinity is coming from negative infinity. The graph exists everywhere on all these negative numbers along the y-axis, but it doesn't go. It goes up to 1, it goes to 2, it goes to 3, it goes to 4, and to 5. And does it ever get past 6? No. See, it kind of curves out right here, and then it kind of flats out right there. It does never go past 6 on the y, right? It comes from the negative infinity, but it never touches 6. See, that's why it has this asymptote. This little dash line is called an asymptote. So for the y, it's all the values of y less than 6, because it doesn't include the 6. Even though it looks like it's touching it, it's not. That's what this asymptote means. So for this one, it's any value of y that is less than 6. It doesn't include the 6. Anything less than 6 are the values of y that we can use on the range. So which one says, this one says less than or equal to 6. No, it can't include the 6. It has to be this one. It has to be this one. So I will submit it, and there it is. What is the domain? Okay, here we go. Domain is what? Looking left and right. Looking left and right. Okay, so the domain is, I mean, nothing happens from negative infinity, nothing happens from 0. The graph actually kind of starts at what? 5. Here's this asymptote. It starts from 5, but it does not include the 5. Remember, when you have this dashed line, it means it never touches it, even though it looks like it doesn't. So it doesn't include the 5, but it kind of starts at anything, what? Beyond 5 or greater than 5? So the graph, the domain here is for the x values or any what? Values of x that are greater than 5, right? From 5 and that way is where you'll see this graph, right? Because it continues that way and continues that way. We look at this arrow. So any values greater than 5, it does not include the 5. It has to be this one. Okay, submit. Good work. And again, the domain, remember, sometimes it'll be domain, sometimes it'll be range. The domain is, again, the x values. So looking at from the negative infinity, right? It's coming from negative infinity. And does it go, even though it looks like it's, see, we don't have the asymptote here. So that means that it actually will continue. There'll be values for -4, -3, -2. You just won't see them. So when you see the arrowhead, it means it continues even though you don't see these values here. How do you know when it doesn't continue? When you have the asymptote, the line like this. So actually this one's from negative infinity all the way to positive infinity. You don't see the graph here, but up here, way up here, there's values for -2, there's values for 0, there's values for +2, for +4 on the x. So this one's from negative infinity to positive infinity, which is actually all real numbers. Fantastic. The range, oh, okay. And the same thing here, see? This line is limiting the x. It's not limiting the y. So from the y, it's coming from all of the negative infinity numbers, right? Because it's asking for the range. So from negative infinity, and actually what? Even though you can't see 3 here or 4 here or 5, this line is gradually climbing. It's gradually climbing. It'll have a 3, it'll have a 4, it'll have a 5, a 6, a 7, 8, 9, 10, but way out there, way out in infinity. So for, oh, I'm sorry, this, oh yeah, the range. Yeah, it will have a value. How do you know when it stops or it has a kind of like a limit? When you see this, but see, this doesn't pertain to the range. That pertains to the x. The range is the y. So all of negative infinity all the way to all the positive infinity, that's all real numbers. Okay, submit. The domain. Okay, see, now here we have the asymptote. That means it doesn't go beyond this number. It kind of gets closer and closer. It never reaches to what? What is this? -8. This will be -9, right? So the domain is the x, -9. So coming from this negative side, it doesn't go beyond this line, right? But on this, it doesn't exist, the graph beyond this, the -10, -11. So it actually starts from -9. It does not include it because it has the asymptote. So pretty much from the values of x are starting from -9 and everything else after to the right? All this arrow means it's going to keep going, So the domain is from -9, and anything greater than -9. So any value of x that is greater than negative 9, but it does not equal it, so it can't be that one. Greater than negative 9 is this one, but not equal to it. All right, one more. Range is the y values, right? Again, we have these asymptotes. So again, we start from the least or from the negatives. From the negatives, we see the arrow, it's coming up. It's coming up from all of negative infinity. It's coming up, it's coming up, it's coming up. It goes to -6, it goes to -5, it goes to -4. But does it go past -3 on the range, right? On the y, Does it go past -3? No. So the range is from what? Well, it doesn't include -3, but do you agree it would be all the values from -3 and less, or less than -3 below it, right? So all the values that are less than -3, but it cannot have the equal sign, less than -3, that does not say less than -3, that says greater than -3. Nope. All the numbers that are less than -3, that's this one. Okay, and that's how you look at this one. This one, the range is everything, so that's all real numbers. Okay, and that's how you'll do. If you get to any like this with an equation, then you're done. But just do a couple of these that have the graph, and you read it from the graph. Okay, good luck.